My exams are over, and it's been a bloody while since I last uploaded. But a lot of you watching will be applying to university in a few months' time. Oxford and Cambridge require you to send your applications off by 15th October. But there's a good chance you don't go to Eton, and there's a good chance you don't go to any other private school. So you may feel a lack of support for your personal statement. Well, I'm here to talk to you about stuff you can do to improve your personal statement for computer science, or engineering, maths, anything sciencey that isn't really medicine. If you actually want to have a conversation with me or a Cambridge student about your personal statement, applying to Oxbridge or using UCAS, or even for tuition for the Cambridge Computer Science admissions test, then go to my website, ishan.one, and I'll get back to you within 2 days. Some other CompScis and I are really eager to give you advice this summer, and we can get you to having the best personal statement you can have. We charge £25 an hour, and just 2 sessions is all you need, really, to be ahead of the curve and focus on the rest of your bloody stressful student life. Back to it. Number 1. The first thing you want to do when writing your personal statement for computer science or maths is don't put too much pressure on yourself to make it extremely well written. I found if you're doing an essay subject like history, it's worth putting time into making your personal statement the best presented it can be. But for something like computer science, they don't really care. It's more about the content. But, and this leads me on to my second point, have someone who is good or decent at English read over your personal statement. That's all you need to do, really. Hand it to your English teacher. I'm sure they'll be more than happy to look over it for you. Any kind of outside perspective someone can give you on the structure or the wording of a little phrase is golden. My third and biggest point I can tell you is your personal project. There are very few excuses for this one. The whole point of a personal statement is 1, to make yourself unique, but also 2, to make yourself come across as enthusiastic and passionate about whatever it is you're applying for. And it's getting easier and easier to show passion for computer science. There are very few excuses for this one. If you have access to the device on which you are watching, then you can code. I got bored a few years ago and I found a Python editor in my phone. It allowed me to write and execute Python. That's all you need. It was a bit harder using a phone screen, but there is literally no excuse. A big thing I can tell you is don't waste time trying to find the perfect project. Anything which you mildly struggle on was worth your time. I've done this, but I'm trying to get better. Just trying new things and completing them is worth so much more than looking for an even better idea. The key word here is completing. I could have wasted so much time trying to decide whether I wanted to do tuition this summer, whether it's worth my time or not. But had I committed to make small and consistent progress each month a year ago, I would have been in a much better place than I am now. You might know someone building something impressive on a huge scale. Be it a YouTuber, a TikToker, friend, or a CEO, every small project you complete is worth something. I'm not going to give you huge ideas to code. I'm going to give you 3 basic examples. And please, if you're applying for computer science, even if you're not interested in these ideas, if you have nothing else to do, if you really can't think of something, just do this. Number 1, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, look at basic algorithms. Check out Quicksort and try to implement it in Python. This is something that once you've set up a decent workflow, once you've gotten to the point where you have the ability to write and execute Python, it's only a matter of watching a few YouTube videos, understanding what Quicksort is, and then coding it. Number 2, look at Google APIs. This one is a bit more elaborate to set up, but it's a bit more useful. It's something I tried messing around with a few months ago. Google will give you about $200 worth of free credits every month using their API. That will get you by with pretty much any personal project you want. For example, I was curious as to which Cambridge college is the best one to go to just based off of location. I thought the colleges in the centre of town would be best. King's, Trinity, Queen's, and I tested this using Google's distance API. It allows you to put in 2 addresses and it just returns the walking distance between the 2 points. I did quite a few calculations and I only ended up using $6 worth of credits. You can do anything. It really is worth spending time learning and just looking at how the APIs work. And if you've never encountered or heard of an API before, it's worth looking at the Google documentation for the API just to get a feel of how much power you can get from it. Lastly, try and do a project that links in with something you're passionate about, a hobby of yours. Let's say you play the drums. The first thing that probably comes to mind is, okay, can I generate a drum beat? Well, then you have to ask yourself a series of questions. How can you represent a drum beat with code? Well, at any given point in time, you've either just hit a drum or you haven't. Okay, so for every point in time, you probably want to have an array. The point is, you can do this for anything, literally anything. It could be a match simulator if you're into sports, anything. Keep going. Persist. You want to have a high threshold for failure. That's what makes a good programmer. There is no such thing as natural programmers. There are just very, very stubborn ones. My next point. Basically, if you're struggling to structure a paragraph, here's one suggestion on how to go about it. Again, it's just a suggestion. Find something really specific about something you were going to talk about on your personal statement. Then, elaborate on just that. Write 2-3 sentences on just that. Write about how it links to other things you've done and how it links to the course of the university you want to go to. For example, on my personal statement, I wrote about a taster day I went to at Imperial College London. I wrote about how I did some Haskell, and then I spent 2 or 3 sentences talking about recursive programming and how it blew my mind. My second last point, and this is going to be kind of a long one. Cambridge want a certain kind of student. This is advice that I've observed from my own admissions process and from looking at my friends at uni. What I'm about to say may come across as wishy-washy and unspecific, but they want students who can change their thinking and get rid of old habits quickly when they're approaching new tasks. In other words, adaptable. Show them you can take things on quickly, or at least that is something you're working on. This video is going to be a drop in the sea of advice you're going to get about your personal statement, but it is worth considering adding a line. But it is worth considering writing a line or two about something that made you adaptable. Just be real. If there actually was something in the past year that's shown you this is one of your weak spots and it's forced you to improve it, just add a sentence to the end of that paragraph of your personal statement saying it forced you to become more adaptable. Lastly, what I just said, be real. Take my advice and every other piece of advice you're going to get with a grain of salt. Ask that inner compass of yours whether what you just said is actually a reflection of who you are. You can usually tell. In other words, be yourself. I can't think of an original outro. Even just saying that is unoriginal. Just take from this video what you will, and in summary, show your personal statement to literally anyone. Perspective is everything. Even the smallest personal project will teach you something. Pick a specific point from one of your talking points on your personal statement and describe it in 1 or 2 sentences. Then spend 2 or 3 sentences explaining it. Lastly, talk about being adaptable. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something. Have a good day. Bye-bye.